Hi guys, my name is Alexis Austin, and today I'm going to be talking about student development theory. I'm going to be talking about this theory in relation to my student development theory class at the University of Alabama. So, first off, what is student development theory? Student development theory is a collection of theories related to college students that explain how they grow and develop holistically when they enroll in college. So, oftentimes, we as higher education professionals hope that our college students are developing to the best that they can be and learning everything that they can be holistically as a college student. So, the student development theories can help higher education professionals. It can be a tool to help us plan different events and programs for our students on campus in a positive light to help them grow as citizens and professionals. So I'm going to get into talking more in depth how to use these different student development theories into practice in our everyday lives as professional, how it is utilized. So the first theory I'm going to be talking about is the transition theory of Skurbarg. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. And within the transition theory, it lists four elements that influence a person's ability to cope with change. For example, it goes with the four S. So the four S's: situation, self, support, and strategies are known as the four S's. So with the transition theory and different situations, for example, a student that's in the military and they decide to come to college for whatever reason. Sometimes they may have gotten injured in the military and that kind of left them no other choice but to kind of leave the military. So for some, they may consider going to college to get their degree. So with that, it's good to have resource and program like a military or veterans club organization or student support services on campus that caters towards that crowd of students on campus. Another thing could be like a first generation college student as they transition from high school to college. Oftentimes they come from low income backgrounds and their parents do not know how to fill out financial aid or kind of advise them in the decision making process of a major. So I feel like that's where maybe academic advisors come into play, to kind of help and guide the students on the way, or in a role like a retention graduation coach. Like me, I'm a retention graduation coach at Jackson State University, where I kind of guide. I work particularly with first generation students, kind of help them with that smooth transition, as well as help them about the resource available on campus. And I also students that may be a transfer student. I work particularly with transfer students from community colleges, and with those students, you have to think they come from a smaller institution. Community colleges typically smaller than university. So when they come to university, it's good that they be a part of different organizations or reach out to uh, like I said, academic advisors or student success coaches. They kind of tell them what resource they have available on campus that they can utilize academically and probably socially, for their overall development. So that's just some of the examples with the transition theory. The next theory I want to talk about is racial and ethnic development. With the racial and ethnic development, I feel like if institutions hire more faculty or a diverse faculty members, then that will cater to that development because students of color in particular will be able to you kind of give connections and see someone that looks like them teaching them, and in some cases kind of can relate to them in some situations. So I feel like that would be very beneficial for those students. And also I feel like by having diverse faculty, they bring different ideas to the institution as well as the curriculum um, in their respective departments. So yes, for that development, I would say some institutions may utilize that by bringing more diverse faculty members. The next area I want to talk about is gender and sexual identity development. So, in today's society, the LGBTQ community is becoming more visible on college campuses, and this trend is expected to grow. And since this trend is expected to grow, I feel like institutions should provide more, uh, workshops or more diverse activities so these students can feel comfortable on campus. And this is important because students would not be doing if they don't feel comfortable on campus. Oftentimes, they may not do academically well in their courses. So, in order for students to do academically well in their courses, in order for the institution to retain those students, by having different events for these type of students will be great. I know institution Delta State University in Cleveland, Mississippi. They have a safe space program, and they actually got a grant. And with that grant, they received the grant money. They utilized that to provide different initiatives and programs for the LGBTQ community of students as well as faculty on campus. They host different events for those uh, faculty members and students, as well as in some cases provide professional development for other faculty that may not be a part of the LGBTQ community, so they can better have a sense of what those students' needs are and how to talk to them and how to approach them in the correct way by using the correct language. So that is just my thoughts into practice with the gender and sexual identity development. The next one I want to talk about is the cognitive structure theory. So, students' moral active growth is heavily influenced by public institutions. So that's both inside and outside of the classroom is how moral growth is promoted and developed. So, like I said, I work at Jackson State University, and at this institution, they require the students to have 120 community service hours. And I feel like this is good because this gives the students the opportunity to give back to the community, to want them to become better citizens overall. And by them giving back to the community, they feel a sense of compassion and gratitude for their community. So I feel like things like that can help with students more ethical development by students being part of different clubs like organizations like SGA, in leadership roles kind of helps them in that as well. Or by being in a mentoring program like the institution I work at, Jackson State University, we have a faculty mentoring program. It's particularly for our STEM students that are doing research. But even though I feel like that's great for their development, because with that, the students are able to not only do research with the faculty member, but it's they're mentoring them in so many ways, giving them different tips and advice, kind of guide them in life overall. So that is just some of my thoughts with the cognitive structural theory. The next one I want to talk about is the spiritual development. I feel like with this, institutions should promote the resources if they have religious organizations on campus. So students can be so students can realize, yes, they have this resource on campus. I know oftentimes private institutions has this, but it's good that more public institutions promote it and have their resource for the students. The next one theory I want to talk about is typological theory, and with this theory, it's about how every student learns differently. For me, particularly, I'm a visual learner, so I have to see things, and I feel like in this environment, we're living in a virtual world. Because of COVID, everything has transitioned to being virtual. I feel like a lot of the faculty members may need professional development or to teach their students, or best practices to teach virtually online, because every student do not learn through lectures online, or they need, some students may be more hands-on, so by having different things like Flipgrid to do a discussion post, or putting students in groups to work together, or putting students in breakout rooms to talk about discussion, come back together and discuss their discussion, or just having have students doing a video of a project or whatever. Different things like that, I feel like plays a huge part in how students can be more engaged into the lesson. The last and final theory I want to talk about is the critical race theory. And the critical race theory primarily is how examines the role and race of social difference between the marginalized racial groups. So I feel like with this theory, it kind of relates back to what I was talking about before. Is how institutions can, kind of have a more diverse faculty members on campus, have more diverse programming events for their students on campus, and different things like that. So I feel like by having that can contribute to critical race theory. As overall, I feel like if academic and student affairs work together collaboratively together and utilize all these theories, students can have an overall general experience on college campus. With some of the things I said, it may not be utilized for every student, because every student is different. Every student is going to have a different experience, and as higher education professionals, we're going to be our approach to working with these students are always going to be unique and different towards those students or student. So I feel like overall, all these different student development theories are just a resource and tool for us to kind of guide us in practice as we utilize in our everyday basis as higher education professionals in our job.